You know, we've all heard the big promise of the internet, right? That it's made the world flat. The idea that for something digital, like a mobile app, borders just disappear. That it's one huge global marketplace where the best idea can take off anywhere instantly.
But is it really that simple? I mean, seriously, can a brand new app launched from a garage somewhere actually go global overnight? Well, let's dig into the data, because the reality is honestly way more interesting and a lot weirder than the myth.
For the longest time, especially back in the 2000s, this was the prevailing wisdom. Everyone just assumed that for digital stuff, the physical location of your customers just didn't matter anymore. It was all about the virtual space, one big happy marketplace.
But then, some researchers decided to actually put this idea to the test. They tracked the real-world global spread of over 100 different mobile games across 43 countries, and what they found? It pretty much challenges everything we thought we knew about this so-called flat world.
So the study looked at the traditional roadblocks for any business trying to go global. And for digital products, yeah, some of them are kind of fading away. I mean, geographic distance, you don't have to physically ship an app. Administrative stuff like trade tariffs doesn't really apply. But two huge barriers? Oh yeah, they are still very much in play.
First up, you've got cultural distance. This is a huge one. It's the gap in all the norms, languages, and traditions between different countries. If an app's core value gets lost in translation, or if it just doesn't vibe with local culture, people just aren't going to use it. It's a massive hurdle. And then there's economic distance. This is all about the differences in income and economic development. A one-size-fits-all app might be seen completely differently in a high-income country compared to a developing one. It affects everything from whether people even want the app to whether they're willing to pay for premium features. Okay, so we've got these two classic barriers that act like brakes, slowing things down. Makes sense. But here's where the story takes a completely unexpected turn. The researchers asked, what about the gap in digital development itself? You know, the digital divide. Surely that has to be the biggest hurdle of all, right?
So they gave this idea a name, virtual distance. It's basically a measurement of the difference in digital infrastructure, internet access, and just the overall digital maturity between an app's home country and a new market. A high virtual distance means there's a really big digital divide.
And here is the bombshell. The study found something that seems to make no sense at all. A larger virtual distance doesn't slow an app down. It actually speeds up how fast it spreads into a new market. Just let that sink in for a second. The bigger the digital divide, the faster a foreign app can take over.
So, why on earth does this happen? Well, as this quote from the researchers themselves points out, it all comes down to perception. Users in countries with, say, a less developed digital scene often see foreign apps as being higher quality, more secure, and just plain better than any local options. It's a really powerful country of origin effect.
Okay, so this is a pretty complex picture, right? We have cultural and economic distances acting as the brakes, while this virtual distance is the accelerator. So the big question is, how do successful apps manage this to actually win the global race? Well, the answer lies in one incredibly powerful force. And that force is what's called the global user network effect. Simply put, it's the idea that the more people use something, the more valuable it becomes for everybody. Just think about a social media app. It's pretty useless if you're the only one on there, right? This effect creates this incredible momentum for growth. And here's how that turns into this self-powering flywheel. It starts small. A few early users get on board. They start talking about it, creating buzz on social media, maybe an influencer picks it up. Suddenly, the app is climbing the charts, getting high ratings. This creates massive social proof, which then pulls in waves of new users. And the whole cycle just repeats, getting faster and stronger each time. So how does this flywheel actually deal with those barriers we talked about? Well, this chart from the study shows it perfectly. With a weak network effect, not much buzz, you can see that cultural distance really slams on the brakes. Growth is slow. But with a strong global network, that barrier gets a lot smaller. It's still there, but a powerful network helps the app just power right through it. Now look what happens with the accelerator, that virtual distance. The network effect doesn't just overcome the brakes, it stomps on the gas. A large virtual distance already gives you a speed boost, but when you add a strong network effect on top of that, as this chart shows, it goes from fast to just ridiculously fast. The hype and that perceived quality get amplified like crazy. So what this all gives us is a completely new playbook for taking a digital product global. The old rules about physical borders, forget them. Culture and economics are your real hurdles, but the most important takeaways are these. The digital divide isn't a threat,
It's an opportunity. Your single greatest weapon is building a global user base, and you should actually target markets with a large virtual distance to hit that accelerator.
Which leaves us with a final, really fascinating thought. This research suggests that the next global sensation might not come from conquering the biggest, most developed markets first. Instead, it might just come from an app that brilliantly uses the digital divides that still crisscross our supposedly flat world, turning what everyone else sees as a weakness into its greatest possible strength.